I'm Aaliyah, 32 years old. Sitting at my parents' dining table, I watched my sister Katie bask in praise for a small Netflix role. I felt invisible, just like I did growing up. For years, I quietly sent money to save their home from foreclosure, but they thought Katie was their hero. Then my mom said something that broke me. Before I share how our family's perfect image fell apart that night, comment if you've ever felt like the unappreciated backbone of your family, and subscribe for more stories about finding my voice. I grew up in suburban Boston, where looks mattered more than truth. My parents, William and Diane, valued success by trophies and cheers. My practical, analytical mind never fit their idea of greatness. Katie, born 2 years after me, stole the spotlight from the start. While I was quiet and thoughtful, she was bold and dramatic. By 7, she starred in her own living room plays, my parents her adoring fans. I was stuck handling lights or props, always the helper, never the star. Dad was the high school principal, admired for his leadership. Mom worked part-time in real estate, always free for Katie's performances. They weren't rich but comfortable, obsessed with seeming like the perfect family. In high school, I shone in academics. Math and economics clicked for me. I won state competitions in debate and academic decathlon, earning scholarships. My perfect grades got a nod from my parents, but they'd quickly turn to Katie's latest drama club win. Katie's 8th grade musical was a big deal: family, neighbors, flowers, and a reception. When I became valedictorian, they just said, "That's expected, right?" No party, no praise, even though I worked as hard as Katie. When college came, I picked finance at State University with a big scholarship. Katie, with her SOSO grades but strong audition, went to a fancy arts program in California. My parents took out a second mortgage to pay for it. Katie's gift needs nurturing, Dad said when I asked why. "You'll be fine anywhere." He was right, I was fine. I graduated summa cum laude in 3.5 years, saving money, and landed a job at a top Chicago investment firm. Katie took 5 years to finish her degree, with my parents footing the bill. After graduating, she moved to LA to make it big. She waited tables and did occasional commercials, but my parents acted like she was Oscar-bound. Every callback was a victory, every tiny TV role felt like a blockbuster. "Katie met a famous actor yesterday," Mom gushed on our monthly calls. "He says she's got presence." My promotion to senior analyst got a quick "that's nice" before they returned to Katie's adventures. 6 years ago, my parents' world collapsed. Budget cuts forced Dad into early retirement with a meager package. The housing market tanked, crushing Mom's real estate work. Their finances fell apart fast. During a rare visit home, I saw past due mortgage notices on Dad's desk while they were out getting dinner. They were 3 months behind, risking foreclosure. Nearby was a letter from Katie asking for rent money for her LA place. That night, I sent $4,000 to Dad's account. He called it a banking error the next day, and I stayed quiet. A month later, I started automatic transfers of $1,100 a month, later raising it to $1,500 as their costs grew. For 6 years, I kept it up, never telling them it was me. They started telling everyone Katie was saving them with her Hollywood money. At family gatherings, they praised her generosity while I sat there, knowing my money kept them afloat. "Katie's success is a blessing," Mom told Aunt Meredith at Thanksgiving, right in front of me. "She takes care of us." The irony stung, but I held my tongue. I felt torn. Part of me wanted to help my parents, who'd raised me despite their flaws. But resentment grew. I was living the values they taught: education, stability, planning, but it didn't matter next to Katie's rare commercials or bit parts. The burden got heavier. I skipped trips, put off buying a home, and lived simply to keep their house and lifestyle intact. Meanwhile, Katie's social media flaunted fancy dinners, beach trips, and Hollywood parties. My parents never questioned how she could afford it while supposedly supporting them. The resentment built silently, like interest piling up unnoticed. I dreaded family gatherings, knowing I'd be overshadowed by Katie's imagined success. Still, I kept sending money, thinking it was right. I tried giving financial advice to make them more independent, but they brushed it off. "We don't need lectures, Aaliyah," Mom would say. "We've managed fine." The irony was never lost on me. Over 6 years, I'd sent over $80,000 to cover my parents' bills, money they thought came from Katie. It saved their home, paid taxes, covered medical costs, and funded repairs. Yet, when I visited, Katie's childhood trophies lined the mantel. My academic awards? Boxed up in the attic. My efforts, both money and heart, went unnoticed in their eyes. Mom texted me, "Katie got a recurring role on a Netflix show. Dinner Saturday to celebrate. Be here by 5. No check on my schedule, no mention of the 3-hour drive, or my big presentation that morning. I rearranged my day, aced my pitch, and hit the road, determined to support Katie despite the knot in my stomach. I pulled up at 4:55, but family cars packed the driveway. Aunt Meredith's SUV hugged the best spot, Uncle Frank's sedan lined the curb, and my cousin's cars took the rest. I parked a block away, hurrying through the autumn chill. Laughter and music poured from the house as I slipped inside, our family's known-up tradition. In the living room, Katie held court, gesturing wildly as she spun a story. Cousins Denise and Peter hung on her words, Aunt Meredith nodded eagerly, and Uncle Frank's laugh boomed. Katie spotted me and paused, her face flickering before flashing a big smile. "Aaliyah, you made it." She gave me a quick, perfume-heavy hug, then dove back into her tale. Mom came from the kitchen, wiping her hands. "Aaliyah, on time for once," she said, her jab stinging. She patted my shoulder, her version of affection for me, while Katie got warm hugs. "Meet Logan," Katie called, pointing to a tall, sharp-dressed guy. "My boyfriend. He's in finance, too, so you'll have stuff to talk about." Logan shook my hand with a real smile. "Good to meet you, Aaliyah." Katie mentioned her successful Chicago sister. His kindness and firm grip surprised me. Unlike Katie's usual self-obsessed boyfriends, he seemed genuine. While chatting, I noticed the living room's new look, fresh paint, refinished floors, and bookshelves around the fireplace. My monthly transfers likely paid for it all. Uncle Frank strolled over, drink in hand. "Aaliyah, how's the finance world?" Before I could answer, he rambled about his business woes. "Supply chains are a mess." "Got debt advice for your uncle?" He chuckled, but his eyes were serious. As I shared some tips, I overheard Mom whispering to Aunt Meredith. Katie's success made the kitchen Reno possible. My grip tightened on my glass. That Reno happened after I sent $2,000 for their broken fridge. Denise and Peter joined me, looking bored. "Still at that bank job?" Denise asked, eyes on her phone. "Investment analysis," I corrected. "Just made department head." "Cool," Peter said, uninterested. "Katie might be in a movie soon." Some director loved her Netflix scenes. Mom called me to the kitchen. Granite counters gleamed, and the farmhouse sink she dreamed of was real, along with custom cabinets. "You could have dressed nicer," she said, eyeing my work clothes. "That jacket's tight." "Came straight from work," I said, ignoring her dig. "Big presentation today. Pitched a new strategy to the board, they approved it, and I'm leading the team." She replied, stirring Katie's favorite pasta. "Take these rolls out and tell everyone dinner's in 5. Setting out rolls, I spotted Dad's desk in the office corner. Bills were stacked neatly, one of my checks peeking out. My stomach churned. Dad walked in and froze. "Aaliyah, you made it." His guilty look said more than Mom's ever did. "Hi, Dad," I said softly. A heavy moment hung between us until Mom yelled, "William, grab the wine glasses." He nodded, grabbed the glasses, and avoided my eyes. We sat at the extended dining table, Katie in the place of honor by our parents. I was between Uncle Frank and Peter, facing Logan. The good china, saved for special occasions, sparkled with fresh flowers and Grandma's silver candle holders. Dad's hand shook as he poured wine. He'd lost weight, and dark circles marked his eyes. For a second, my anger softened. They were my parents, aging and frail, despite their flaws. I started those payments to help my parents. But watching Mom fuss over Katie's napkin like she was still a kid brought back that old ache. I'd never felt that kind of love from her, not even as a child. I sipped my wine, bracing for the night ahead. Dad raised his glass for a toast. To Katie's big break. We always knew you'd shine, sweetheart. Everyone echoed, congratulations. I raised my glass too, happy for Katie despite everything. Her creative dreams were tough to chase in Hollywood. Tell us about the role, Mom urged, beaming. Katie set her glass down with flair. It was a brutal audition, 8 callbacks. The director said I nailed the character's heart. She spun a tale of dazzling industry execs, claiming she outshone actresses from big shows with her unique take. How many episodes? I asked, curious. 3 for sure, maybe more if fans love it, Katie said, which they will, obviously. I nodded, smiling. That's awesome, Katie. She barely noticed, diving back in. The schedule's insane, 5 a.m. starts, shooting till midnight. It looks glamorous, but it's tough. I sipped my wine again, thinking of my own 5 a.m. market prep, late nights with portfolios, and weekends buried in reports. But my work wasn't story-worthy to our family. The pay's a joke, Katie went on. You give everything, and they barely pay enough to live. Without my commercial gigs, I'd be sunk in LA. I nearly choked. Her commercials were rare, nowhere near enough for her fancy clothes and trendy restaurant posts, let alone sending money to our parents, as they thought. I tried asking about the show's plot, but Aunt Meredith cut in, asking about famous co-stars. I went back to my pasta, listening to Katie drop names of celebrities she'd barely met. Mid-dinner, Dad stepped out and returned with a small gift box for Katie. We wanted to mark your first recurring role, he said, voice heavy with pride. Katie tore it open, gasping at a sleek, mother-of-pearl watch. Is this the $1,000 one from the mall? We saved for months, Mom said. You earned it. My face burned. I'd sent an extra $500 that month for car repairs, skipping a friend's trip to cover it. Speaking of nice things, Uncle Frank said, eyeing the dining room, this place looks great. You finally did those renovations. The kitchen's perfect, Mom replied. New floors make such a difference. It was embarrassing having guests with the house falling apart, Katie added. Glad it worked out. Her hint that she helped stung. I set my fork down, keeping my face blank. Logan spoke up, looking at me. Aaliyah got a promotion, right? Department head? That's huge for your age. Silence hit before Mom said, yes, she's at an investment firm. Solid job. Then she turned to Katie. Tell us about that director eyeing you for a movie. Logan's gaze lingered on me, curious, maybe understanding. Aunt Meredith jumped in during a pause. Aaliyah, got anyone special? That clock's ticking, you know. She laughed like it was clever. Before I could speak, Katie cut in. She dates these dull finance guys. I tell her to find someone fun to loosen her up. I like my life, I said firmly. Katie rolled her eyes. You work 60 hours a week and probably color code your socks. Nothing wrong with organization, I shot back. See? So serious, Katie told everyone. My friend Jason in production might be good for you, more fun than your usual. The talk shifted to her social circle. I refilled my water, tuning out. Uncle Frank turned to Dad. Housing markets bouncing back. Must be a relief post-retirement. You're doing well, new renas, fancy gifts. Dad squirmed as Mom said, some investments paid off. She avoided my eyes. I always say real estate's the key, Katie chimed in. Buy low, sell high. Simple. I held back, recalling my ignored advice to Dad about diversifying their savings. Now Katie was tossing out podcast wisdom, and my parents nodded like she was a finance guru. Katie's always been sharp with money, Mom said. Even as a kid, she got value. Uncle Frank looked doubtful. I saw Denise smirk, maybe catching the lie. Remember the housing crash? Katie said, touching Dad's arm. I'm glad I could help. Family first. My chest tightened as my parents nodded at Katie with gratitude. 6 years of my sacrifices were being credited to my sister, who hadn't sent them a dime, as far as I knew. My jaw clenched, my knuckles whitened around my glass, and a dull ache spread across my shoulders. Logan noticed my tension and tried to shift the talk. William, you were a high school principal, right? That must have been fulfilling. It was, Dad started, looking relieved. But Katie cut in. Dad was the best principal. Everyone loved him. I'd visit his office after school, and teachers said I got his charm. It helps me with directors now. Logan tried again. Aaliyah said you're doing consulting now? Just some career counseling at the college, Dad said. Not as thrilling as Hollywood, he added, smiling at Katie. Pressure built in my chest, like a balloon ready to burst. Every dismissal, every redirect, every time Katie took credit for my work, it was all piling up, a storm I couldn't name but felt coming. Aaliyah, Katie said, twirling her pasta, you should work less. Life's not just about money. I don't earn as much as you, but I enjoy my life. I sipped my water slowly. We make different choices. That's not a choice, she laughed. When did you last do something fun, take a trip, have an adventure? Mom nodded. Katie's always lived in the moment. You've been so serious, always planning ahead. Even as a kid, you saved your allowance while Katie put on plays. Some of us have responsibilities, I said sharply. We all do, Katie shot back. I've got auditions, lines, networking, but I find joy. That's the difference. Katie balances work and fun so well, Mom added. And she's there for family. That's emotional intelligence. I set my glass down. All kinds of intelligence matter. Sure, dear, Mom said, brushing me off. Katie, tell us about that director who wants you for a film. Katie dove into a story about a big director who loved her scenes and might cast her in a breakout role. I'll need new headshots and coaching, she said. These chances take investment. Whatever you need, Dad said. This could be it. Uncle Frank cleared his throat. Katie, you said acting pays little. How do you help your parents and afford LA's high costs? Silence hit the table. Katie blinked, then laughed lightly. Good budgeting, Uncle Frank. I put family first, then career, then extras. Smart planning, Mom jumped in. Plus, Katie added, national commercials pay well, and there's always side gigs. Must be a lot of gigs, Frank pressed. LA rent eats up most acting salaries. I watched Katie's confidence falter, her face uneasy. She's resourceful, Dad said. We're so grateful for her help, Mom added, patting Katie's hand. Something snapped inside me. Years of being invisible, of giving without credit, of this lie at the table, I was done. Katie, I said calmly, when did you start helping Mom and Dad with money? She looked shocked. On and off for years, when they needed it. Since Dad's retirement and the market crash? I guess, she said, unsure. Why are you grilling me at dinner? I'm just curious about the timeline. Mom cut in. Aaliyah, this isn't the time. We're celebrating Katie. Just one question, I said. How much have you given them since Dad retired? Rough estimate. Tension thickened. My cousins glanced at each other. Aunt Meredith leaned in, curious. Katie flushed. I don't track it. You help family without counting. You wouldn't get that, always calculating. Numbers are my job, I said. Not everything's a spreadsheet, she snapped. Some of us have emotional intelligence. Mom glared. Why are you undermining Katie's success? This is her night. I'm not. I'm asking a question no one can answer. Katie shoved her plate away. You're jealous because I chased my dreams, not some safe job. Jealous of what? I asked, calm settling over me. My creativity, my risks, my success in a tough industry while you shuffle papers. Katie, Logan said softly, uneasy. But she kept going. You resent my talent because you're just good with numbers. Admit it. Then Mom struck the final blow. You're bitter because Katie's succeeding, and you'll always be a number cruncher in a cubicle. Silence fell. All eyes were on me. 6 years of hidden support, sacrifices, and being unseen while Katie got the praise, it all clicked. I set my napkin down and looked at Mom. Then asked Katie to repay the $80,000 I've sent you since college. A successful actress should have no trouble. The silence hit hard. Dad's fork clattered on his plate, his face pale. Mom froze, wineglass stuck midair. Aunt Meredith's jaw dropped, and Katie stared like I'd spoken a foreign tongue. Logan glanced between us, piecing it together. What are you talking about? Katie squeaked, voice high. I locked eyes with Mom. The monthly transfers to Dad's account, the extra for the fridge, car repairs, taxes, the money that saved this house from foreclosure. That was me, every month for 6 years. That's nonsense, Mom said faintly. Why would you lie? Aunt Meredith leaned in. Diane, is this true? Has Aaliyah been supporting you? No, Mom snapped. Katie's always helped us. I pulled up my phone, opened my banking app, and slid it to Uncle Frank. 6 years of transfers, $100 a month at first, then $1,500, plus extra for emergencies and run-offs. Frank studied it, then glared at Dad, disappointed. Dad looked down, defeated, avoiding his brother's eyes. The room felt colder as the truth sank in. The quiet dragged on, feeling endless. Mom broke it with a shaky laugh. This is absurd. Aaliyah's mixed up. I'm not mixed up, I said evenly. I've sent money to Dad's account since his retirement. The same account you use for bills. The money you credited to Katie. I never said it was Katie, Mom backtracked. You misunderstood. You said it 15 minutes ago, Meredith cut in. You said, we're grateful for her help in tough times. Dad spoke, voice barely there. It's true. Aaliyah's been helping us for years. Dad! Katie gasped, paling. The transfers are regular, he went on, eyes down. I never told you it was Katie, Diane. You assumed, and I didn't correct you. Mom's face flashed shock, shame, then anger. Why hide this from me? You didn't want to admit we needed help, Dad said. Especially not from Aaliyah. Katie was always the successful one. Katie shoved her chair back. This is humiliating. You all lied to me. Tears welled up, making me think I was helping when I could barely pay rent. No one made you take credit for money you didn't send, I said. I didn't. Katie yelled. Mom and Dad said they were fine. They'd thank me for small birthday checks, and I thought they were just being nice. Small checks, I repeated. They thought you were bankrolling them for years. That's why they praise you and ignore me. They thought you saved this house. That's not true, Mom said, voice weak. Katie spun to our parents. Did you tell people I was supporting you? Their silence answered. I can't believe this, Katie cried, tears falling. Aaliyah's ruining my celebration with lies out of jealousy. I'm not lying, I said, showing more bank records. Want to see 6 years of transfers? They match the rent, appliances, taxes. This is private, Mom declared to everyone. Let's talk later. We're family too, Meredith said sharply. You've praised Katie's help for years while ignoring Aaliyah. If this is true, you owe answers. It's true, Dad said, meeting my eyes with shame. Aaliyah's been our lifeline since my retirement fell short. Without her, we'd have lost the house. Katie stood. I need air. She stormed out, footsteps loud on the new floors. Mom glared at me, then Dad. I can't believe you did this. She tossed her napkin and followed Katie. Silence fell again. My cousins stared at their plates. Frank and Meredith exchanged looks. How much? Frank asked. About $80,000 over 6 years, I said. And no thanks? Meredith asked, stunned. They didn't know it was me. Dad knew but didn't tell Mom. He was too ashamed of their money troubles. Logan, quiet until now, spoke. That's incredible, Aaliyah. Most wouldn't give so much without credit. It wasn't about credit, I said, though that wasn't fully true. They're my parents. They needed help. Frank faced Dad. William, you let Aaliyah support you while praising Katie. Do you see how wrong that is? Dad nodded, eyes low. I didn't mean for this. It started as a short-term fix until I got work. Then it kept going, and I couldn't admit the truth. And the lies about Katie? Meredith pressed. Diane assumed, Dad mumbled. Katie sent small gifts, and Diane spun a story. I should have stopped it, but Katie was the favorite, I finished. It was easier to let Mom think her star child was the hero. More silence. I heard Mom and Katie arguing outside. My cousin slipped away, mumbling excuses, leaving me with Dad, Frank, Meredith, and Logan. I'm so sorry, Aaliyah, Dad said, voice cracking. You deserved better. His words unlocked years of bottled-up feelings. I blinked hard, refusing to cry at the table. Logan sensed my unease and switched topics. Why'd you help them secretly, Aaliyah? I thought it'd save their pride at first, I said. Then I saw they wanted to believe it was Katie. It felt easier to let them keep that story than face the truth. That's selfless, Logan said. But unhealthy for everyone. I see that now, I admitted. The back door slammed. Mom stormed in without Katie, clearing plates with sharp, angry motions, avoiding our eyes. I should go, I said, standing. Running away after ruining dinner? Mom snapped. Uncle Frank stood too. Diane, enough. Aaliyah's supported you for years while you credited Katie. You should be thanking her, not lashing out. Mom stayed silent, her hands shaking as she stacked dishes. I'll walk you out, Logan said, surprising me. We passed the living room, where my cousins huddled, pretending they hadn't heard it all. Outside, the cool air eased the dining room's tension. That was heavy, Logan said as we reached my car. Your generosity's incredible, even if hiding it caused issues. Thanks, I said, touched. Sorry you saw our family mess on your first visit. It was eye-opening, he said, pausing. Katie acts like a big-shot actress who supports her parents. Knowing that's not true changes things. I unlocked my car and faced him. She's talented and earned that Netflix role. The money stuff's separate. He nodded. That's kind of you to say. Can I get your number? Tonight might bring more drama, and Katie may need us both. I shared my number, moved by his care despite the awkwardness. Driving away, the night's weight crashed over me. 6 years of secrets had burst open, shifting family ties forever. There was no going back, only forward into the unknown. Halfway home, my phone rang. I answered via Bluetooth, expecting Katie or my parents. "Aaliyah, it's Logan. You okay?" "You looked rattled leaving." His concern broke me. For the first time in years, I cried over my family, my hidden sacrifices, the truth finally out. Next morning, my phone showed missed calls, 2 from Dad, 1 from Aunt Meredith, 3 from Katie, none from Mom. As I made coffee, a knock startled me. Through the peephole, I saw Dad, looking worn and older, clothes wrinkled, hair messy. I opened the door, unsure what to say. "Can I come in?" he asked quietly. I let him into my neat apartment. He noticed my financial certificates and economics books. "I've never seen your place," he said, the truth heavy between us. "Coffee?" I offered, unsure how to start. "Please." We sat at my small table, mug steaming, silent at first. Dad spoke up, voice shaky. "I'm so ashamed, Aaliyah. Not just for the money, but how I've treated you compared to Katie." I stared at my coffee. "Why didn't you tell Mom it was me?" He sighed. "I was too ashamed of our situation at first. When she assumed it was Katie, it was easier. Your mom's always cared about how we look to others. And Katie was the successful one," I added. "Maybe it was that simple," he said, pausing. "Katie's struggles were loud, dramatic. Your strength, your independence, it was easy to overlook." He took a breath. "There's more. 2 years ago, I had a minor heart attack." My head jerked up. "What? Why didn't I know?" "We didn't tell you or Katie. Your mom thought it'd worry you too much. I got meds, told to cut stress. The bills added more strain." "You should have told me," I said, hurt. "I know. But your mom wanted me to seem strong, not weak. Admitting we needed your money would have broken that image. So you let her think it was Katie." "Yes," he said. "It was wrong. I told myself I was protecting her pride, Katie's image, your freedom. But I was avoiding the truth." His honesty stung but meant something. "Thanks for saying that. It's the least I owe you," he said, touching my hand. "I've always been proud of you, your smarts, your hard work, your heart. I just didn't show it like I did for Katie." Tears welled, but I held them back. It hurt, Dad. Seeing Katie praised for what I did, while I was invisible. "I know," he said. "I'll try to make it right, if you'll let me." My phone rang, Katie. I answered on speaker. "How could you ambush me like that?" she snapped. "It was so humiliating." "Katie," I said calmly, "I didn't plan it, but years of lies hit a breaking point." "Lies?" "I didn't lie. I didn't know Mom and Dad said I was supporting them. You didn't correct their thanks for your money." She paused. "I thought they meant my small birthday checks. I didn't know it was thousands." Dad spoke. "Katie, I'm with Aaliyah. She's right. We let everyone think you were helping when it was her all along." "Dad." Katie sounded shocked. "You lied to me for years, making me think I was helping when I could barely pay my bills? I feel so stupid." "We didn't mean to hurt you," Dad started. "Don't call me that now," she cut in. I felt guilty for not doing more, while Aaliyah was sending thousands you credited to me. I saw Katie's anger was fair. She'd been trapped in her parents' lies too, just differently. "Katie," I said, "could we all meet with a family therapist? This is bigger than money." She agreed instantly, surprising me. Yes, this is so messed up, and Mom's pretending it didn't happen. That sounds like her, Dad said softly. We planned a session for the next weekend with a therapist I found that day. Before hanging up, Katie said, Aaliyah, thanks, not for the money secret, that was wrong, but for making the truth come out. I've been living in a weird fake world. After her call, Dad and I talked more. He admitted their finances were worse than I knew, medical debt, another mortgage I didn't know about. My money had saved their home multiple times. I need boundaries now, I told him. I can't keep funding everything, especially without credit. He nodded. You shouldn't. I'll work more consulting hours, and your mom needs to face our reality. Later, Logan texted, been with Katie, helping her process. She's doing okay. How about you? His kindness warmed me. We texted about the mess, and he offered to join our therapy session for support. An outside view can help, he said. 3 days later, Mom called, her voice cold, like I was a stranger. Your dad says we need to talk. We do, I said. I didn't like looking foolish in front of everyone. And I didn't like my 6 years of support credited to Katie, I replied. Silence hung heavy. Then her voice cracked. It's hard to admit we couldn't manage after years of independence. Needing your help felt shameful. I get that, I said carefully. But giving Katie credit wasn't the answer. I know, she whispered. I wanted Katie to be the success. It fit my dream for our family. What dream? That our creative daughter would make it big and provide, while you, so responsible, didn't need us like Katie did. Her words hit hard. My independence made it easy to ignore me. I needed your pride, I said softly. Your recognition for what I've done. For the first time, Mom really listened. I'm sorry, she said, tears in her voice. I've failed you as a mom. Our therapy session that weekend felt like stepping into a storm I knew we needed. The office was small, with soft beige walls and a circle of chairs that made us face each other. No escaping the truths we'd buried. The therapist, a calm woman named Dr. Ellis, greeted us with a warm smile but firm eyes. She started by asking us to share one feeling from the dinner. Katie went first, her voice shaky. Betrayed, she said. Like my whole life was a lie. Dad admitted guilt. Mom crossed her arms, saying embarrassed. When my turn came, I whispered invisible. Dr. Ellis nodded, guiding us deeper. We dug into years of family patterns. I talked about always being the reliable one, the one who fixed things quietly. Katie owned up to accepting unearned praise, admitting it felt good at first but hollow later. I knew something was off, she said, but I didn't question it. Our parents faced their favoritism. Dad confessed how Katie's drama drew him in, while my quiet achievements seemed expected. Mom cried, saying she pushed Katie's dreams because they mirrored her own unfulfilled ones. The harm it caused? I shared my resentment and pain, how it built like a wall between us. Tears flowed freely that day. Dr. Ellis wrapped up with advice. You need brutal honesty and firm boundaries, she said. No more unacknowledged support, no false credit, no ignoring issues. Start with small truths daily. We agreed, but I knew one session wouldn't fix lifelong habits. Driving home, exhaustion hit me, but so did hope. It was a start, a crack in the facade we'd all maintained. Weeks later, changes rippled through our family. Extended relatives reached out, their views shifted by the dinner revelation. Aunt Meredith called first, insisting on lunch. We met at a cozy cafe near my work. Over salads, she apologized. I should have seen it, Aaliyah. Your mom's stories about Katie always seemed too perfect. I forgave her, and we talked for hours about family blind spots. It felt good to be heard. Uncle Frank emailed next, offering business connections. "You've got a sharp mind," he wrote. "Let me introduce you to some folks in finance." We met for coffee, and he shared contacts that led to new opportunities at my firm. My cousins, who once brushed me off, now texted for advice. Denise asked about budgeting apps, Peter about investing in stocks. "You're the expert," he said. It was strange but empowering, like stepping out of the shadows. Amid the chaos, Logan and I grew close. His texts started casual, checking in after the dinner. Soon, we met for coffee, then walks. As an outsider, he spotted patterns I'd missed. "Your family's dynamic was like a script," he said one evening. "Katie the star, you the crew." His insights helped me process without judgment. Our friendship deepened, a bright spot in the mess. Katie's move back from LA marked a big shift. She called one night, voice tired. "I'm done chasing Hollywood dreams that aren't mine." I listened as she unpacked her frustrations, the endless auditions, the pressure to succeed. Logan supported her choice, helping pack her things during a quick trip. While there, he and I grabbed dinner, our talks turning personal. Back home, Katie settled into a routine, and Logan kept building with me. One afternoon, Katie caught us in a deep conversation at a park. She smiled, a real one. "You two fit well," she said. Who knew my fake financial success would spark something real between my sister and my ex-boyfriend? I raised an eyebrow. "Ex?" She laughed lightly. "Yeah, we realized we're better as friends." Logan's got a type, honest, responsible women who speak their truth. Can't imagine where that came from. She winked, showing self-awareness I'd underestimated. It was a moment of lightness, hinting at healing. Rebuilding our family was slow and painful. We committed to truth over appearances, but old habits died hard. Tough talks became routine. One night, Mom and I argued about past slights, voices rising until we hugged it out. Dad shared his fears of aging, opening up in ways he never had. Katie and I had honest chats about jealousy and roles we'd been assigned. It wasn't easy, some days resentment bubbled up, others doubt crept in. But each conversation chipped away at the walls. For the first time, I felt truly seen by my parents and sister. No more invisibility. Dad asked about my day with genuine interest. Mom complimented my choices. Katie treated me as an equal, not a side character. It was raw, but real. 6 months after that explosive dinner, we gathered again around the same table. The air felt lighter, charged with cautious optimism. The house smelled of roasted chicken and fresh bread, a simple meal without the old pretense. Dad looked healthier, his cheeks fuller after committing to heart rehab walks and checkups. "Feels good to breathe easy," he said, smiling. Mom sat beside him, her face softer. She'd started part-time at a local design store, arranging displays and helping customers. "I forgot how much I love creating spaces," she shared. It was her passion, long buried under family duties. Katie, now in a cozy apartment 20 minutes away, bubbled about her new job teaching drama at the Community Arts Center. "These kids light up when they nail a line," she said. "It's more rewarding than any callback." She still auditioned locally, small plays and commercials, but without the do-or-die pressure. Acting was part of her, not all of her. I'd made shifts too. Work had always come first, but no more. I turned down a promotion loaded with travel, opting for stability. "I need time for us," I told my boss. It meant prioritizing family calls, weekend visits, and self-care. Balance felt foreign at first, but freeing. Logan sat next to me, our hands brushing under the table. What started as friendship had bloomed into romance amid the family's rebuild. His steady presence grounded me, listening after tough days, offering hugs without words. As an outsider, his perspective was gold. "You're all rewriting your story," he'd say. During healing, he joined some sessions, his calm insights helping bridge gaps. Dad stood, glass raised. I'd like to propose a toast, he said, voice steady. To honesty, however painful, and to Aaliyah, whose generosity kept this family afloat in more ways than one. Eyes turned to me, warm and appreciative. Mom, who'd fought the changes hardest, added softly, and to forgiveness, which I'm still learning to both give and receive. Her words carried weight, a step from denial to growth. We clinked glasses, the sound echoing like a new beginning. The atmosphere differed from past gatherings, no forced cheers, no spotlight on one person. Just authenticity, laughs mixed with quiet moments. We joined a family financial therapy group, meeting weekly to discuss budgets openly. No more secrets about money. We learned to support without enabling, asking needs directly. After dinner, Katie and I cleared dishes, a chore she'd dodged before. As we rinsed plates, she opened up. You know what I realized, she said, scrubbing a pan. I spent so many years thinking fame made me valuable. Chasing roles that never felt right. But teaching these kids, seeing them light up when they master a scene, it feels more real than any audition success ever did. Her eyes sparkled, passion evident. You're really good at it, I said, drying a bowl. I'd watched her class last week, kids hanging on her words. You have a gift for bringing out people's confidence. They bloom under your guidance. She smiled, genuine. Thanks. It's like I'm finally me, not some Hollywood version. Mom entered the kitchen, a small package in hand. Speaking of gifts, she said, voice soft. This is for you, Aaliyah. I unwrapped it slowly, revealing a silver frame holding my graduate school diploma. I'd given it to them years ago, but it gathered dust in the attic. Now, polished and framed. It's going on the mantle, Mom declared firmly, where it should have been all along, next to Katie's drama award and your father's teaching commendation. The gesture hit me hard, a visible acknowledgement. Thank you, I whispered, hugging her. It was small, but meaningful, a sign my achievements mattered. No more boxes in the attic. Later that evening, Logan and I strolled through my parents' quiet neighborhood. Streetlights cast soft glows, leaves rustling in the breeze. He squeezed my hand. Do you regret it? The money, 6 years of supporting them secretly. I paused, considering. The question had lingered in quiet moments. I regret the secrecy, not the support, I said. Family helps family, that part one believe in deeply. But enabling harmful patterns, allowing lies to continue, that I regret deeply. It hurt us all. He nodded, thoughtful. You know what amazes me about you, he said, stopping to face me. You found a way to be generous without becoming a doormat. You gave quietly, but when it was time to speak up, you did, even though it was terrifying. It was necessary, I corrected, leaning into him. For everyone. Hiding the truth kept us stuck. We walked on, his arm around me, the night peaceful. And it had been necessary. Katie confided recently over coffee that the revelation lifted a massive weight. I was trying to be successful enough to actually help them the way everyone thought I already was, she said. It was crushing me, that pressure to live up to a lie. Now, free from it, she pursued teaching with joy, her creativity channeled positively. Dad's health had turned around without the burden of secrets. No more late-night worries about bills or pretending. I sleep better, he told me during a walk. And my checkups are good. The stress reduction showed in his energy, his laugh. Mom was slowly blooming too. Beyond being Katie's cheerleader, she explored her design passion. I forgot how creative I am, she said one day, showing me a store display sketch. Her identity expanded, less tied to us kids. For me, the change was profound. I learned being valued didn't require perfection or invisibility. I could be seen without sacrificing myself. Therapy reinforced that weekly. The biggest lesson hit deep: real love doesn't thrive in shadows. My financial support stemmed from genuine care, a desire to protect my family. But by keeping it secret, I'd enabled destructive patterns, favoritism, denial, resentment that hurt everyone, including myself. True support requires honesty, boundaries, and mutual respect, not just quiet sacrifice. It's about building together, not carrying alone. In our latest family therapy session, I sat across from Mom, Dad, and Katie, the small room feeling both safe and charged with tension. Dr. Ellis, our therapist, leaned forward, her glasses catching the soft light. Her voice was steady, reassuring. "What happened in your family is actually quite common," she said. Financial enabling often ties to emotional patterns set in childhood. Parents favor one child, others step in to compensate. Breaking those cycles demands immense courage from everyone. I glanced at my family, their faces reflecting a mix of guilt, hope, and determination. We nodded, knowing this was just the beginning of a long road. That courage is a daily grind, a choice we make every morning. Some days, it feels like wading through mud. Old hurts flare up, Mom's sharp comment about my serious nature, Dad sidestepping a budget talk, Katie slipping into old boasts. I catch myself bristling, the sting of invisibility creeping back. But now, we call it out. Not with yelling, but with calm, firm words. "Mom, that felt dismissive," I'll say. Or Katie will admit, "I was showing off again, wasn't I?" It's messy, but it's real. Underneath, there's a foundation of truth we never had before, solid, built on open talks and accountability. It's like laying bricks, one honest moment at a time. Last week, my parents hosted a holiday gathering, and the house felt alive in a new way. Twinkling lights wrapped the porch, and the air carried the warm scent of cinnamon and mulled wine. The dining room buzzed with family, but this time, the spotlight wasn't on one star. For the first time, my work took center stage. Mom pulled me aside during appetizers, her eyes bright with curiosity. "How do you juggle such complex investment strategies, Aaliyah?" she asked, leaning in. "It sounds intense." I explained my latest project, a risk diversification plan, and she listened, really listened, nodding thoughtfully. It was a small moment, but it felt like a victory. Later, Dad cornered me by the Christmas tree, notebook in hand. "You're the pro," he said, grinning. "Help me tweak my retirement accounts?" I walked him through rebalancing his portfolio, pointing out safer funds. He scribbled notes, his focus on me unwavering. It was a far cry from the days he'd glance past my report cards to gush over Katie's plays. These moments, Mom's questions, Dad's trust, were proof of change, like new shoots breaking through cracked earth. Aunt Meredith caught me during dessert, her voice low over the clink of forks on pie plates. "I never thought I'd see it," she whispered, eyes wide. "Your mom bragged about your investment strategy to her church friend today, didn't mention Katie once." I smiled, warmth spreading through me. It wasn't just the words, it was the shift behind them. Small steps, yes, but each carried weight, signs of a family learning to see me. I hugged Meredith, grateful for her noticing what I'd longed for. As the one-year anniversary of that explosive dinner nears, I keep reflecting on its impact. That night, my words, "ask Katie to repay the $80,000, cracked open decades of unhealthy patterns. It was like a thunderclap, shattering the polished facade we'd all upheld. The fallout was raw, tears, accusations, silence, but it cleared space for something real to grow. Like sunlight after a storm, truth brought clarity. The pain was sharp, the mess overwhelming, but the growth? It's been worth every hard moment. I see it in Katie's new confidence, in Dad's healthier glow, in Mom's tentative steps toward change. Have you ever had to voice a truth that scared you? Maybe a family secret eating away at you, or a hurt you buried to avoid conflict? I've stood in both places, speaking up and staying silent. Silence felt safer at first, a way to keep peace. But over time, it grew heavy, a burden that isolated me. Every unacknowledged sacrifice, every ignored achievement, added weight until I couldn't carry it anymore. Speaking out that night was terrifying, my voice shook, my heart raced, but it was liberating. I've learned that honest relationships are tougher. They demand vulnerability, effort, facing the discomfort head-on. But they're richer, deeper, more rewarding than the fragile comfort of lies. Those lies we tell ourselves or others? They might feel like protection, but they chip away at trust, leaving cracks that widen with time. That night shifted everything, but the real work came after. Therapy became our anchor. Dr. Ellis guided us through exercises, writing letters we never sent, role-playing tough talks. One session, I read aloud a letter to Mom about feeling unseen. My voice cracked as I described years of sending money, watching Katie get praise. Mom cried, reaching for my hand. "I didn't know how to value you," she admitted. It wasn't fixed, but it was progress. Katie shared her own letter, confessing how the pressure to be the successful one crushed her. Dad owned his silence, how he let Mom's narrative take over. Those sessions stripped us bare but built us back stronger. Outside therapy, our family found new rhythms. Katie and I started weekly coffee dates, no agenda, just talking. One day, she laughed about a kid in her drama class who flubbed a line but stole the show. "I'm learning from them," she said. "They're fearless." I told her about a deal at work, how my team's strategy saved a client millions. She listened, asking questions, no trace of her old dismissiveness. It felt like we were sisters, not competitors. Mom surprised me one Sunday, calling to share a design idea for her store's window display. "You're good with structure," she said. "Any tips for balancing colors?" I suggested a bold accent to draw eyes, and she texted me a photo of the finished display a week later. "Your idea worked," she wrote. It was a small connection, but it felt like a bridge forming. Dad, too, opened up more. During a walk, he shared stories from his principal days, then asked about my career goals. "I want to hear you," he said. Not just nod. His effort showed me he was trying. Logan's presence wove through it all. Our bond, once just friendship, deepened into love. After therapy sessions, we'd debrief over takeout, his calm grounding me. "Your family's like a puzzle," he said once, chopsticks in hand. "Each piece is finding its place." He joined a few sessions, offering an outsider's view that cut through our biases. When Mom got defensive, he'd gently say, "Let's hear Aaliyah out." His support made me braver. Extended family stepped up too. Uncle Frank invited me to a finance networking event, introducing me as the sharpest mind I know. Cousins Denise and Peter texted for advice, Denise on saving for a car, Peter on crypto risks. "You make it make sense," Peter said. Even Aunt Meredith became a cheerleader, sending articles about women in finance with notes like, "This is you." Their recognition felt like a tide turning, each gesture pulling me from the shadows. The holiday gathering wasn't perfect. Mom slipped once, praising Katie's teaching before mentioning my work. I caught her eye, and she corrected herself mid-sentence. "And Aaliyah's killing it at her firm," she added. Dad raised a glass later, his voice warm. "To Aaliyah's leadership on her big project." Katie chimed in, and to her patience with us. Laughter broke the tension, a sign we could joke about our flaws now. Reflecting on that dinner's one-year mark, I see how one truth unraveled a web of lies. It wasn't just about the $80,000, it was about roles we'd been locked into. Katie as the star, me as the invisible fix-it. That night broke the script. Now, we're writing a new one, messy but honest. The pain of confronting those lies lingers, but so does the freedom. We're not perfect, arguments still spark, doubts still whisper, but we face them. No more hiding. I think about others out there, carrying silent burdens. Maybe you've supported a family member without credit, or felt overlooked for someone louder, flashier. Maybe you've held back a truth, fearing it'll break everything. I get it, the fear is real. I stayed quiet for years, thinking it protected my family. But silence only deepened the hurt. Speaking up, even when my voice shook, was the hardest thing I've done. It was also the most freeing. It taught me that truth, though painful, builds stronger bonds than any lie. If my story strikes a chord, subscribe to follow more on navigating family complexities, the highs, lows, and in-betweens. Share your own stories in the comments. Have you carried a financial load in secret? Felt unseen next to a sibling's spotlight? Your experiences matter. Watching them reminds us we're not alone, sparking that I can face this moment. Maybe you've enabled someone emotionally, smoothing over cracks instead of addressing them. Or maybe you've been the favored one, unaware of the cost to others. No judgment here, just a space to reflect. Like and share if you know someone stuck in silence, hiding pain to keep peace. Your share could be the push they need to speak up. A friend, a cousin, a parent, someone might be waiting for permission to break free. Thanks for joining my journey from hidden support to open strength. Sharing it heals me, bit by bit, like stitching a wound. And here's the truth I hold now: real relationships start with honest conversations, even when they feel impossible. They don't have to be grand, just one small, brave word at a time.